Welcome everyone to the Raise Mentoring Summit here. The power of showing up, presented by our friends at Google who are hosting us here today. So thanks very much to our friends at Google. I'm Mark Beretta. I'm a proud Raise ambassador, have been for a number of years now. So it's a pleasure to be here with the panel for what is a very special chat. First off, let me acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. And in particular, Raise pays respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge the ongoing contribution that Australian Aboriginal peoples and Torres Strait Islanders have made to skilling our nation, including the mentoring and nurturing our most precious asset, of course, our young people, and that's what we're all about today. We have a very special group here today for our panel discussion, so let me get straight into it and introduce them. Firstly, Alec Rawling joins us. Alec is an alumni mentee who experienced the Raise mentoring program a few years ago and felt it had such a positive effect that he reached out to reconnect with us. So we're grateful to Alec and to have him here and his dedication to Raise over this past year. So welcome, mate.
Great to see you. Thank you very much.
Robin Chad is with us. Robin is the principal at Killara High School, where Raise is now in its 8th year of running programs, an incredible partnership. It's a huge success story, and he is a huge advocate of the Raise mentoring program and strongly believes in the impact of having a Raise mentor and what it does for a young person's life. So we're delighted that he's found the time in this busy part of the school year to be here with us. Robin, thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.
Kate Graham is well known to us. Kate is Raise program manager. This year she's helped guide 9 program counsellors to successfully facilitate 27 programs. She also runs mentor training sessions for the organisation. Kate's background is as a program counsellor. She's been with Raise for 8 years, although she still looks so young. So thanks for joining us today, Kate, and we look forward to tapping into your wealth of experience.
Thank you.
Robbie Lawson is a great story. Robbie became a Raise mentor in 2022. He felt so inspired by that program that he spoke to his employer, Google, where we are today, and since then has been able to initiate programs here in partnership with Google, which is just brilliant. They've been a great corporate partner. Robbie has organised that for us and he's encouraged a number of staff to get involved in the program as well. This year, Google have had several staff mentor with Raise and have hosted an excursion program for participants in here at Google from a local school. So it's great to have Robbie here. And Robbie, thanks for all you've done for Raise and thanks for opening the doors of Google today.
It's a pleasure.
Great to be. It's a beautiful spot to be too. Finally, with such an incredible lineup of people who we want to tap into their expertise, we need an expert question asker, and Kath Vella is just the person. Kath, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Now,
it's great to be here.
By background for Kath, Kath has worked with Raise for almost 6 years now as the National Programs Director. She's the founder of the Australian Youth Mentoring Network and is currently the Strategic Projects Director at Raise. She has considerable knowledge and experience in the industry and is sure to add a lot of value to us today, and she's also very funny. That's true, you are, Kath. So Kath, what do you think? Should we go?
I think so. Let's get started.
All right. So let me fire the first question. Robin, let's start with you because you're hands-on. You see the results of this program. What challenges and what issues are you seeing at school with kids that you're working with today?
Yeah, Mark, so at the classroom level and in the playground level, we're noticing quite a few challenges that young people are facing. And if I can just broadly group them into particular themes, I'd say meaningful connections, meaningful human connections, peer pressure due to the rapid fire nature of social media, and I'd say academic pressures. For some young people, the shadow is cast long and wide on them if they're not able to perform at a particular standard. So if I can talk to those 3 things briefly, meaningful connections, meaningful human connections, and I've seen so many benefits of this Raise program right in front of my eyes. And it was only last week I sat down and spoke to some Year 8 and Year 9 students who shared unbelievable impacts on them, long-term impacts, positive impacts as a result of this program. But what we're finding and what we're noticing in school is homes are no longer just homes, a domain for the family. Homes have now transformed into almost full-time workplaces, and that changes that family dynamic. That changes the interactions. Parents are under significant pressure in terms of children, be quiet, I'm on a conference call or something of that nature. And whereas home used to be to the domain of just family elements, now it's the workplace. And what we're finding as a result of that is children are craving that human connection. Parents are doing a wonderful job, but I think where Raise mentors come in is they feel a little bit of a gap there, and that one-on-one interaction is just special. Rapid increases in technology, social media apps, children feel significant pressure to conform to particular styles of living, to behave in a particular way, and our Raise mentors, I think, come in and they just support our young people by providing such a wonderful, unique, outside perspective. And educational impacts on young people in terms of living up to a particular standard and putting a lot of pressure on themselves to achieve a certain grade. That's another pressure and challenge that young people face, and I think our Raise mentors are able to provide a fresh, unique, external perspective that's not a parent, that's not an educator, but is there giving that neutral, unbiased perspective on broaden your horizons and just step back and have a higher level view of what's happening. So they're the three things. I think meaningful human connections, a lot of education-related pressures, and the impact of social media, Mark. I think they're the key challenges that we're seeing right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, isn't it?
It is.
Kate, what are you seeing across the programs that you've been managing this year?
Yeah, we're seeing similar things actually. Talk about social media, definitely that's a big one. We're seeing our young people engaging in big social group chats as well. So you might have a whole year group that's on one group chat, and maybe they don't necessarily have had the guidance on how to navigate those platforms. So we're seeing a lot of young people having issues with conflicts with friendships, for example, because they're reacting and they're responding to messages without really thinking through. So that definitely has a big impact. We're seeing low confidence, low self-esteem, and then the knock-on effect of that is, lack of social skills and friendship issues, and not reaching out and asking people for help because they don't have the confidence to do that. Identity, who am I? Where do I fit in? And how much of myself am I willing to compromise to fit into those social spaces as well? And they're big conversations that we have with our matches. And one thing that I think is really important to add is our mentees are sharing that they feel misunderstood. And that can be within friendships and families, of course, but we're particularly hearing about that in the school. So maybe by some teachers as well. So maybe they've behaved in certain ways, they've had a few incidents under their belt and they've been boxed or they've been given a bit of a reputation. That could be through association as well with maybe some other peers that they're hanging around with. And they share that when they try and they identify their own behaviours and they try to make positive changes, it's not always acknowledged by the school. So that often leads to disengagement from school, and sometimes they just resort back to those challenging behaviours. So that one seems to come up, feeling misunderstood. But yeah, social media, another big one. Identity, they're all common challenges. And you talk about the connection, the lack of meaningful connections, that's a big one. So we're really lucky to be able to provide that space with our mentors to jump in.
And our program is working with our Year 8 and Year 9 students. So we're talking about that 13 to 16 age bracket. Robin, I was just wondering, why is our program so important for this particular group of young people?
Yeah, so the end of stage 4, start of stage 5 is an age group where students are going through a lot of physiological changes, a lot of cognitive changes, and the novelty of high school has worn off. So they've passed Year 7 and the HSC is so far away, so they're in the middle school and they're trying to establish their identity. And I think where Raise has really supported our young people is to really consolidate that wonderful journey of being brave enough to develop your own identity. I think one of the biggest educational benefits of Raise for our young people is the fact that they're able, especially in Years 8 and 9, they're able to actually observe the wonderful nature of the mentors giving up their time. That act of volunteerism, viewing it in action, is so powerful. Seeing that there are humans giving up their time, they can be doing all sorts of things, but the mentors, our children, really appreciate the fact that we have adults giving up their time, coming in through the school gates, not looking at their screens, not looking at their watches, not looking at their phones, but total investment in that child. And that investment in the young person in front of you as a mentor and mentee, that pays so many social, cognitive, emotional dividends in years to come. And we see that, we benefit from that at school. So Years 8 and 9 is just a fabulous year group two year groups to focus on, because there are so many changes. And also that's the peer group situation where we find that young people if they're really not supported and given some support from the sidelines, they can really go off the tracks. And gaps can form in their learning, and as we know in education and research, once a gap forms, more and more it increases in terms of its width. So our mentors, or the RAISE mentors, really helped keep them on track in that regard.
It's about changing that trajectory, isn't it?
Yes.
It's just that little slight movement that we want to do. We just want to shift the needle a little bit, because we know that by getting into that early intervention stage, there's a whole lot of research behind it which shows that we can make a change, and it's only a little one, a small change to begin with, but we know that that has huge impact
Absolutely.
going forward. And we know that our program in particular, the RAISE program, we know that when a young person's been with us, I was lucky enough to go to our graduation just a couple of weeks ago and celebrate again. And it was so wonderful to hear teachers talking about the students and to say, you know, I'm not too sure they're going to get up and say anything. They were pretty quiet. And now here they are at graduation, full of confidence, and they're standing there thanking these mentors. These mentors who could have, as you just said, volunteered anywhere. They could have done surf lifesaving, they could have gone and been an SES, but they chose this particular young person to spend that time with each and every week. And sometimes, let's be honest, the mentor's the only person in their life who's not paid to work with them, and they've chosen that time. And with that quality time, we're seeing in our program the young people are able to know how to ask for help even once we're gone. They know how to how to help seek. They know that they've got the increase in their confidence.
I think that's a really important point, Kat, because we don't often see the immediate impact of mentoring. Sometimes we're lucky enough to see the light bulb moment and see them grow whilst we're with them, but sometimes it is planting seeds, and that's sometimes the young people don't appreciate or know what it is that they've actually taken from this program until afterwards, and that's where the early intervention is so helpful, because we're trying to get in there and plant those seeds prior to them maybe needing it as well.
And that's a perfect segue to you, Alec.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, can you describe your experience in the RAISE program? Because that's it, you are one of our alumni. What was it like being in our program?
Yeah, I think you guys touched on it so well. Like, it was perfect. It's exactly that. You can be really lost as a kid. You don't have a supportive environment at home, and then teachers, you just feel like they're supporting you because they have to, not because they want to. And then you get this random adult who just rocks up and bang, supports you, loves you, really believes in you. And it's so nice to go your entire life without not having that, and then all of a sudden some random stranger that you don't know just put all this time and effort into you. And for me, Ian wouldn't know, who was my mentor, wouldn't know what impact he had on my life and how he changed it. Honestly, it was more down the track of my life where I really applied myself after I saw him. During his time with me at school, I still went up to school. But then the following year, I really applied myself, all because of Ian, all because of that positive impact a mentor can have on someone.
Is there anything in particular that Ian did to...
Just believe in me, and just, he was there, he listened to me, I felt like he used to put me in the back corner, no one listened to me, and he went out of his way every Friday, because I'd see him every Friday, he would go out of his way to really just listen to me and listen to my feelings and listen to how I felt I wasn't supported at home and at school. And then he realised that and just, really supported me, honestly. It was just about having that support network around you that also then built from that. I realised that I can go talk to, other adults and other teachers, and then just out in life, you find a workmate and you go, well, you know what, if I reach out, they might support me. And then reality is they normally do.
Sorry, Alec, can you just give us an idea of what challenges you were facing at that time? What was the biggest thing on your plate?
There was, I think, a lot of things. I think a big thing, honestly, was no one called me out for my behaviour. I could get away with anything I wanted. Everybody was like, oh, Alex, he's, that lost child. No one really cared. He can go do what he wants. Doesn't go to school, don't worry about it. I didn't have parents telling me to go to school or anything. And he called me out on the behaviour. He was like, hey man, I make this effort for you. Can you not make the effort back for me? And then it kind of makes you think about your whole life and go, if I just apply myself just a little bit more, even half what he applies himself to life, great things will happen. And it really is. You apply yourself and it'll change your life.
Good.
So Kate, our programs run for 23 weeks, and we are gearing our young people up for the time when we're no longer with them. And I'm just wondering if you were able to tell us about that time where we, so to speak, let them spread their wings and fly.
Yeah, so we know that the optimal time for our mentoring programs is that 23 weeks. So, the idea is it gives us enough time to create those safe spaces and build those connections. But also we don't want to create that dependency, right? So we need to ensure that our mentors are a reflection of the broader community. So we can do that by a number of things really, but a part of our curriculum is structured to meet certain outcomes. It's all very considered and in a particular order to build up the goal setting and the planning and all of those things that we want our young people to achieve. So we're looking to increase their resilience, their help-seeking skills. We're looking to create their sense of belonging at school and for their hope for the future as well. So part of that program, towards the end, our program counsellors really facilitate discussions around who's going to be your next mentor. And we ask them, we challenge them, who's it going to be? What are they going to look like? Where are they? Is it that teacher down the corridor that might give you a little smile sometimes that you can reach out to? Or is it the footy coach that knows a little bit about your home life? Or a relative or a family friend? And we get them to identify it, like who's that going to be? And it's a really important process because we want to use that time, that program, for them to learn the skills, as we were saying before, to be able to go out and meet somebody else. And that's part of it. So we don't want them to be dependent on their particular mentor, but to be able to look out and find other mentors. We know that things shift and you need different people in your life. So hopefully they build up that confidence to be able to make that connection. Essentially their mentors are strangers right when they first come in, and we're just telling them that, hey, you can trust these people. We really want to value that and give them the confidence to be able to look for other mentors when they need help.
So who are these mentors, right? You look across the Raise mentors and they come from all walks of life, all sorts of backgrounds, younger, older. They're an incredible mix of people who decide to give their time to help someone younger. It's a big commitment. Now, Robbie, you made that commitment. You jumped in and got involved. Why did you want to do it?
Yeah, I guess coming out of the pandemic, there was a lot of reevaluation I think was happening for a lot of people. And for me, I really looked at my life-work balance and realised that one of the things that I was lacking was that kind of community connection. And I kind of started to think, how can I give a little bit more locally? First place I thought of actually was Lifeline, actually, and called up. They were full. There was a huge surge in volunteering, and I also, on reflection, that's kind of like nearer the end of the process. You've got people calling up with problems, and you're trying to help. It's a wonderful cause, but Raise then stood out to me as somewhere where I could impact earlier, at the root, and really make a difference. And I think there was that. I think that also I looked at my own family and my kids, and my daughter's now year 7, 13, and I guess wanting to prepare myself for the teenage roller coaster that is very much happening right now. Raise seemed like a wonderful place to start.
You make a good point about it being preventative too. That's a strong thing about the Raise program.
Yeah.
So I often hear from mentors, excuse me, that they find they get a lot more back from the process than they ever imagined.
Yeah.
You don't expect to receive this incredible benefit yourself from the process. How did it impact you, and what did you get out of it, firstly personally and also professionally?
Huge amount. It's quite hard to summarise it really. I think mainly a huge amount of personal growth and connection to the local school, the mentors and the mentees. I got an incredible insight into at times the chaos that is a working high school in year 9s. But also the different,
Robin's laughing.
the different mentors,
Day.
the variety of mentors that come from different walks of life was a real wonderful experience for me to meet them and hear about their incredible stories. So that was the personal side. I think from a work perspective, I'm lucky that I'm with an employer who recognises there's benefit in having that life-work balance that I mentioned. But also, I think it's made me a better coach at work. I work in sales, so I'm working with clients, I'm working with a team, and it's helped me be a better listener. It's helped me connect better and be more empathetic. So whilst the start of it was personal. I think I would hope that my work has seen some benefit as well from that too.
So you enjoyed the process that much that you come back into work to Google and you say, okay, listen, everybody, you all need to get involved in this. How did that unfold?
Yeah, very, very organically. I would say that it started with a passion and an interest, and then I really value the structure that the RAISE program has across the course of the program and the way that the results are measured. And to me, that felt like something that would work very well in talking to my workplace about and the benefit that it could bring, both to Google, but also back to the community. So I guess it just started with a few conversations with internally at work, organically, getting some other Googlers to want to mentor. We started to do a bit of fundraising as well at the right moments. And we're very much a bottom-up approach whereby that groundswell is building. We're looking now for connections with Google and RAISE for where our values really align, how we can develop that and maybe even integrate into the program.
Yep. So having been through the process, just tips for people watching today who may want to take the program into their workplace and plant the seed. What's the best way to do that now that you've been through it?
I think just dive in. I think really the RAISE organisation is so open to help. We had Vicky, we had Sarah come in to Google and give a talk to the sales team and share just a bit about what they're doing, and that organically draws people in. I think there's more of a connect maybe for parents or for people who are closer to their school, and you just find that organically people pull in from different parts that you would never expect.
So Kate, who can become a RAISE mentor?
Anyone really. We'd love everybody really to apply to be a mentor. If you're over 21 and you're willing to go through the necessary youth checks, and you've got 2 hours a week that you can give to a young person, we'd love you to apply and jump in and do the training to become a mentor. So as Robbie was saying, it's everyone from all different walks of life. We've got young students, we have tradies, we have police officers, ex-teachers, retirees, mums, dads, nanas, grandpas. Everybody really can be a mentor. And I think it's really important for everybody to know that you don't have to have the experience working with young people. You don't have to have a child yourself. Don't feel that you're too old or you're disconnected or you wouldn't understand, because that's what our young people want. They want to be able to have those connections, and they want to have different stories that they can pull on and decide which connection that they feel that they need. And we'll train you up. We'll give you all the training that you need. We have 8 online modules, so that means that you can just do it from home. Anyone can jump in. If you're not tech savvy, then we'll help you with that as well and make sure that you've got all the things that you need to get through those modules. They just give you an outline of what it takes to be a mentor. What is it about? What are the boundaries around that? What are the expectations and goals? And then we invite you to jump into a group mentor training, which is really fun and more interactive. You can do that online, or you can go and do face-to-face. You're facilitated by a RAISE trainer, you've got your other volunteer mentors with you, and you just get an opportunity to really sort of personalise that training and find out what it is that you need yourself to become a better mentor. We do different scenarios to throw you into to see, give you the skills to be able to work out how you would address those things. And it's just a really, really organic space where you can learn how to be a mentor. So I'm really passionate about it. I love the training. I think everybody could benefit from it, whether it's, if you have a young person in your life at all, you could benefit from the training. And it's just working to close that bridge between the older generations and the young people. So really important, if you think that you have the time, then please jump in and don't let, thinking that you don't have the experience, don't let that be an obstacle.
Kate, you've got us.
Are you in?
A lot of people also say that once they've done our training, that those skills are transferable, not just with young people that they're working with, but for anyone that they're working with within their workplace. If you need to lead a meeting or you need to motivate someone, and there's many times in your life that you need to be a mentor to somebody else that's either working alongside you, and it's a fabulous opportunity to put those skills into practice. And we're seeing that ripple effect. We're seeing this year, our mentors who have volunteered this year, that for every young person that we worked with, another young person was supported thanks to that mentor. But in addition to that, for every mentor, there was also a grown-up that was supported by our mentors as well. So Alec, what would you say to anyone thinking of becoming a mentor?
Oh, like, honestly, I don't think most mentors would even realise how much of a positive impact they would have on a young teenager's life. Like, honestly, I don't even think I was going to get the opportunity to say thank you to Ian for the impact he made on me, which I was very blessed that Ray's gave me the opportunity to say thank you. But I don't think he realised how much of an impact he had on my life. He changed my life, and I think a lot of mentors who go out there and are going to help young teenagers do it for good reasons and good intentions, and that will come through even if they don't realise. Yeah.
I know I'm showing my age here, but I say this each and every time. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. The risk of being a Pantene commercial, it is so true. Like, you might not necessarily see that change right then and there in those 23 weeks, but I can guarantee you are making a change.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a great story. Thanks, guys. It's been very enlightening. Before you run away, thanks for sharing your stories and your perspectives. We've got some questions that have come in from the audience too at home. Kath, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure. We've got Jane Denton from Victoria, and they ask, when I'm not mentoring, I'm a high school teacher. What do you think is the most important thing I can do to help my students cope with challenges? Kate, what do you think about that one?
Listen. I think that's what we went back to with Alec. I think really listening, and like really listening, like with to really hear their challenges and from their perspective. I think that's essential, just to really listen, provide that safe space. We want our young people to feel like they matter as individuals, that they really, really matter. And creating that safe space and listening really sets up that environment for them to share those challenges. Normalising some of the challenges that our young people are facing are common challenges that maybe we've experienced ourselves, or it's common for a lot of the young people themselves. So I think just tapping into that, and when that works, normalising some of those concerns that they may have. I think just listening and being there and providing that space is probably the most important thing that we can do, and building that trust. If you don't have trust with a young person, you can't get close enough to make a connection. So we know that for some young people, they come in, with open arms and they're ready to trust, and others it can take a long time, maybe the whole program. So establishing those things at the beginning, making them feel important and really heard, and just really ensuring that we're understanding what they're saying and we're not making assumptions, because when we do that, we can potentially lose them as well.
Okay, good advice. This one from Rishi Ammon from New South Wales. Rishi says, I see a lot of teenagers overloaded with study outside school, plus lots of extracurricular activities. What's your suggestion for balancing all that with family and me time? Is it like a work-life balance thing for kids? Robin, that's probably one for you.
Yeah, so Mark, that's a great question in terms of the routines that young people have outside of school. Some young people have routines that are very regimental and almost as if every hour outside of school is filled up. That can be problematic, and I think there are significant benefits in allowing young people to have unstructured time. Builds agency, builds autonomy, and I encourage our mentors to talk to our young people about that. However, in saying that, extracurricular activities after school can certainly have significant benefits for young people. So every child's got their own context. But what I've seen in terms of bringing it back to Raise is that there are just tremendous benefits. And just to tap into what our panellists have been saying, I see the benefits. I see young people who have graduated from this program in year 8, Mark, year 11, they're thriving. And they reflect back on their Raise experiences. Young people who are in year 9, when it comes December or January at the start of year 10, they reflect back and they talk explicitly about their experiences. And if I can just talk directly to the mentors for a moment, I think there is no greater form of citizenship in our society than to help younger people and to shape the next generation in a positive way. As you've experienced, Alec, and I think it's beautiful. So just back to the question, significant benefits of Raise, but in particular young people and their time outside of school, work-life balance and study, it's really important to balance it up with either part-time work, sports, or simply just hanging out with your family. You don't need to say anything. Teenagers are quite interesting. They might not say much, at times, have interesting ways of communicating, but there is no substitute for family connection, human connection.
Yeah, good one. Thanks, Rob. Good.
We've got another question from Victoria. This time it's from Becky Newen, and they've asked, how could parents and carers be better equipped with skills to help their worrying and anxious kids and partner with schools? Well, I'm going to first do a really cheeky plug and say they could come do our training and get those skills professionally. But I think for that one, I would say, first of all, I'd go to the school. Would you agree, Robin? Like, if you're really concerned about your young person, start with the school.
Absolutely.
And see what support
Absolutely.
you've got there.
Yep. Come straight into reception. I'll give the school phone number a call, or email one of the deputy principals or the principals directly. We usually have lots of information that we can share with families about how young people are going. So I agree. Yes.
That's it. And I think with that connection into the wellbeing team as well, because then it might be that maybe that young person isn't quite on the school's radar just yet, and that the wellbeing team might be thinking, oh, this might be the perfect candidate for a program. But it's not just our programs. There's programs like Headspace and Reach as well that you'd be able to access. And we all work together. The idea of this space is that one is not better than the other, that we work collaboratively and holistically to support that young person. So where we might support with one aspect, there's room for other avenues, even professional support in some instances as well.
Kate, this sounds like one for you. It's from Ming Lee's in Queensland. She wants to know, what's the best strategy for encouraging resilience and perseverance while ensuring that young people still feel supported and not bubble wrapping them?
Yes, so resilience is a really big one, and something that we work with on our programs actually, and something that our young people are definitely lacking in resilience. But I think it's important to acknowledge the difference between supporting and bubble wrapping, sometimes we call it. I think particularly it comes through sometimes in our training where we have mentors saying, I didn't have that when I turned out all right, or, we're mollycoddling our young people a bit too much. Creating a safe space for our young people and listening, like really listening with intent to understand what they're saying and really make them feel heard. And that's not bubble wrapping, right? That's essential, and it's communicating with our young people. Whereas maybe adults jumping in, rescuing out of context, maybe doing something for the young person that they can do themselves, maybe that's not necessary. We know that the best decision will always come from the young person themselves. So the best way I think that we can get that resilience is to foster that self-decision making. So empower them, tell them they're awesome, find out their strengths, and just keep reiterating them because we want them to feel capable to make decisions themselves. We can bounce off some ideas and some strategies that might work, but really encouraging them to find that space where they can feel supported. I think accountability needs to come to it as well. They need to also take responsibility for their own behaviours and their responses, and we can support young people with that. So it's not about just everybody else is the problem. Let's look at our own, behaviours, and Alec, you said about that too. And I think that's really important. We often speak to our young people and say, you can't always change other people's mind or their behaviour towards you, but you can control your own response and your own actions. So, we talk to them. Maybe there's a teacher in the school that's, they're on the wrong side of. Maybe they've behaved in a certain way and they're not getting, the teachers are sort of eye rolling when they walk in. What is that young person going to do to be able to change that? What are they going to do to create a better space for themselves? Maybe they're not going to rock on the chair, or they're not going to back chat, or they're not going to distract the others. So just trying to empower them, to give them some control over what it is that they can they can do to meet their own.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good one. This one from Cherie Ferguson from Queensland, who says, how do I connect with a teen daughter when she continually shuts me out? Alec, that might be one for you to have a go at.
I think Avery touched pretty well on it. It's that importance of creating that safe, supportive environment, really create an environment where they feel that they can open up and tell you whatever's going on. And that might take time, it's not something that happens overnight. It could be even weeks, months, even a year. Every is different, and it's just about creating that supportive environment day in, day out. Not once a week, not twice a week, but every day. So that day when they finally feel ready to chat about their issues, they feel supportive and loved. And that's what is the most important thing, just feeling supportive, because I don't think people realise how big of an impact that will have on you as a kid, feeling supportive.
Yeah. And making yourself available, putting yourself in a position in the house or wherever it might be that, that you're in the same place and that they can come in and tap in if they need to. I think it's a great way to be able to connect with their teams. And driving.
That's what I was just going to say, driving. I find they get the best information.
Absolutely.
They just sit quietly.
Yeah.
Let them control the radio. I can let that go now.
Yeah.
But it's when they don't have to sit like face to face. You don't have to make that eye contact when you're just both looking ahead. That's when I find the best information. But I'm truly listening. Like, a bit dangerous to the road, but I am truly listening.
And taking that pause, if you just pull back just for a second or two, chances are they're going to fill that space. We might think it's a bit awkward, but if we don't feel it, they will. And then they can choose where that path is going to go. Are they going to continue on that topic? So just trying to take a moment to slow things down as well.
Good work, panel. Very good session. Before we head off, any final words of wisdom anyone wants to add, please?
Enroll, become mentee.
I just wanted to add on that last point about the teenage girl in the shutout. I saw some incredible examples at the school I was mentoring at where one or two pupils were totally shut down and not wanting to speak to their mentor, and the way that Ray's, I guess, the program counsellor supported the mentor was exactly what you were just saying around just sit quietly with them, give them time and space over a few weeks. They drew together, they talked about music, they talked about what they were watching on TV, and then just suddenly, boom, 4 or 5 weeks in, just opened up. And it was just incredible to see. And by the end of the program, those were the strongest relationships. So seeing that progression was amazing. And I think as a father, I've learned a lot from observing that secondhand, and will definitely be using that one.
Because you just don't know how high that person's wall is. What we see is we don't know how many other people have let that person down, how many people have they tried to trust or tried to get support from who haven't been there. So it is a little bit of a testing period. They really are pushing you away a little bit to go, you're just like every other person that has let me down. And that's where that mentor turning up every week, the same day, same time, is saying, no, I'm not that other person, I'm different. I am here for you. And once they feel that, even if it's like playing a game of Uno over and over again, eventually that young person goes, all right, you really aren't going away. As you said, like Ian wasn't leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
He was there. No matter if you turned up or not, he was there. And then that's enough for some people to go, okay. And they'll let you in little by little, or it's light bulb. It all just floods out. But that's all you need to do. It's just the power of showing up.
And even if it doesn't happen straight away, as a mentor, you walk away and think, oh, maybe I didn't see. You've actually created an environment where that young person can step in, find a new mentor, and maybe that trust building process won't take as long. Because they've gone through that motions, they've had a good positive experience, so maybe they can jump in and that might be a bit easier for them as well.
So, Alec, is anything else you want to throw in?
I just want to say thank you to everybody here for taking the time of their day to do this, and thank you to Raise, like honestly, and any mentor that's involved with the Raise, or just any mentor in general, and just thank you, because you guys do such an amazing job. And you guys probably wouldn't even know how many kids you've helped throughout your time in schools and all that stuff. And thank you, and thank you to the team who do such an amazing job day in, day out.
Alec, that is awesome. That's the perfect spot to wrap us up. No more words from me after that, except for this. Just want to thank our panel, guys. Thank you very much. Awesome job. Really good. Some great gems in there today. Quick reminder, there is heaps more content on the page that you can dip in and out at your own leisure. For more questions that we didn't get around today, you'll find them there as well. And we're sure you get some answers from the chats that are online there, or Sally or Karen Young's discussion on handling teen anxiety is a beauty as well. Plus, there's a great conversation with our Youth Advisory Collective on connection and community, and tips from Beck Sparrow on personal boundaries. All good stuff. But from all of us, once again, thanks team. Great session. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.